Hola, Smoothskins and Mongos. Sonat here bringing you some quick tidbits of information on Fallout 4 that you may have or may not have heard already. Now it looks like Fallout 4 is going to be a little over 28 gigabytes in size, and this was discovered on icxm.net by somebody on their Xbox One. I'm sure it's going to be the same size on the PS4 and the PC. Now that size might seem small to you, because Fallout 4 is supposed to be this massive game, but do not fret, do not worry my friends, because Bethesda knows how to compress and optimize their games very well. They've been doing it for many years. Think about Skyrim. Skyrim was less than 6 gigabytes. Less than 6 gigabytes. You know how big that fucking game was? The world, there was a bunch of NPCs all over the map, there were tons of creatures, tons of dragons, over 125 dungeons, there were hundreds of side quests on top of the main story, and on top of everything, that game was gorgeous. So if Bethesda was able to cram all of that awesomeness into 6 gigabytes, imagine what they can do with 28 gigabytes. So do not worry my friends, Fallout 4 is still going to be huge, it's going to be packed with content, and you're going to shit yourself as soon as you step into the world. Now let's go ahead and compare the size of Fallout 4 to a few other games. Wolfenstein, for instance, 50 fucking gigabytes. Wolfenstein does not have multiplayer, it is not an open world, it is a linear single player experience with gorgeous graphics. But for some reason, it was 50 fucking gigabytes. Could they not compress this game at all? Like, it seems like they did not even attempt to compress the game. Like, what the fuck, man? They could have brought it down to maybe like 30 gigs or something like that, since it is a single player experience, but they were like, fuck it, we'll just leave it at 50 gigabytes. Even though people out there got slow internet and they're gonna have to download this for a week. But that's what I love about Bethesda, man. They know how to compress, because they know people out there have slow internet and they don't want them to spend a week downloading their games. But if we go to The Witcher 3, it's 35 gigabytes, and that's pretty awesome, because The Witcher 3 was quite massive in size. Tons of NPCs, tons of creatures, tons of places to explore. The graphics were phenomenal. I mean, for all of that to fit in 35 gigabytes was astounding. But like I said, when it comes to compressing and optimizing, Bethesda is the king, baby. So anyways, let's go and talk about the other bit of information, which is the reasoning behind the mature rating for Fallout 4. So the ESRB says this is an action role-playing game in which players assume the role of a Fallout shelter resident emerging from a post-apocalyptic world. As players traverse the open world environment, they complete various missions, objectives, and use machine guns, machetes, lasers, explosions to kill mutants and other human survivors. So right there, that is a confirmation of a awesome melee weapon called the machete, which is one of my favorites. Also, one of my favorite movies with Danny Trejo. Whoop whoop. Battles are frenetic with realistic gunfire, explosions, and large blood splatter effects. Some attacks result in slow motion dismemberment and decapitations. A handful of scenes depict chunks of flesh as well as severed heads and dismembered corpses. During the course of the game, players can consume a variety of fictional drugs, buff out Jet Psycho, through the use of a menu. Repeated use of these drugs leads to an addiction status and various negative effects for characters. The words fuck, shit, and asshole are heard in the dialogue. So boom, we already knew these were coming back. Well, we assumed they would come back, but this is 100% double confirmed. Buff out Jet and Psycho have returned to the universe of Fallout, so I can't wait. So there you have it. Those are a few tidbits of information that you may or may not have known. Oh wait, I wanted to talk about one more thing, the possibility of the specs for Fallout 4. Now if you go to GameDebate.com, they have what they think are going to be the minimum requirements to play Fallout 4, and they're saying you're going to need at least a GT 740 or a Radeon R7 240 with a Core 2 Duo processor. And they think the recommended requirements are going to be a Core i3 with a GTX 650 or a Radeon R7 250. Now that seems very plausible, but honestly I think the recommended specs are going to be a little bit lower than a GTX 650, just because Skyrim only required 4 gig RAM and a GTX 260, which is a very low-end graphics card. And Bethesda want to make sure that everybody out there has an opportunity to play their game. So they're not going to make it where you need to have a GTX 970 or GTX 980 just to play their game. I say at the most the recommended GPU is probably going to be the GTX 500 series. I don't think it's going to be much higher than that. But then again, that's pure speculation. Who really knows for certain? But anyways, there you have it, people. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hit that like button, hit that dislike button, and say, "What up, cuz?" in the comment section below. Sayonara, Wastelanders.